What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about SoundHound. Give you a quick overview of some of the data points, what's moving it higher, lower, everything that you need to know. But first, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up. And with that, let's get right to it. So SoundHound is up 2.07%, starting to pull back. And I'm going to break it down, all of that for you. So low is 14.26, high of 15.23. So a couple of things that really kick-started SoundHound's push higher to that $15 range. One was just PCE coming in line with expectations. This really gave a nice foundation for the market to really move higher. So both month over month and year over year came in line with the forecast, but specific to SoundHound. So they didn't put out any news today, but there was this that did come out in the form of a SEC form early this morning at 9:56, and that ultimately showed Vanguard increase their position to a good 32 million. So essentially, just more than doubling their previous disclosure of around 13.8. So that is very, very bullish if you ask me. And keep in mind that is from a 13G. So that does equate to it occurring in Q4. So and on a side note, this was a amended 13G. So yeah, I think that is very bullish. But regardless, one thing that is really causing some kind of volatility today, it was just announced this. So Trump will implement a 25% tariff on Mexico, Canada, and then 10% on China. I think the biggest surprise is China, because he recently, he's been stating and tweeting or whatever, saying that China and the States have been getting along, good rapport. This says otherwise. So I think that really threw a wrench in everything. And then not only that, you're already seeing Canada and Mexico retaliate and basically say, hey, we're going to hit you back as well with energy or just additional tariffs. So I think it's going to get a little bit ugly potentially. So once again, I think a lot of people were just under the impression that Trump was just doing this as more of a scare tactic, but this seems to be very much coming to fruition. So let me know your viewpoint on that. Shorts, though, I'll give you a quick overview of that. This is Lucid. You guys don't need to see Lucid. So pulling up SoundHound right now, shorts are increasing 151,000 shares. Could have guessed that easily. The fact that they're increasing, it seems to be the case all the time. But 33.21% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 109.31 million shares. In reality, got to be honest, them only increasing 151,000 shares today is rather timid. Normally it's like 500 plus. So again, that's kind of bullish if that makes sense. So that 13G that came out today is very, very bullish, mind you, again. But cost to borrow average 5.45%. Utilization is 90.15. Moving over to options though, looking here, so you do have roughly around 9.65 million in calls, 3.55 in puts, and then 47% of all the options being done are bearish in nature. Just generally looking, it's nice to see more volume. So the market's open for another about 2 hours, give or take, and we're at 13.2. Yesterday, 8.9, day prior was 7.7. So it's good to see more increase in volume, and there's been a just constantly an increase in the open interest. So yeah, more people playing SoundHound through options, and in my opinion, I think that's relatively good. Some people might disagree with me on that, but if you really want to make some big money, that's how you do it, through options. But of the call options that are being purchased, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that. It looks as around $18 for going into next week. And then the bears are anticipating for it to be sub roughly about $14. So definitely a lot more upside is anticipated. With today being Friday, just take a note of this. So we have roughly around 6,000 in open interest at that $14 strike price, 5,000 at the $14.50, 7,000 at the 15, 10,000 at the 16. So shorts and market makers have a financial interest in having SoundHound close below $14. So just watch for some last minute, I guess, manipulation to really push SoundHound below 14. So let me know your viewpoint on that. But these are all the transactions occurring on the secondary market above $100,000. So kind of in line with the norm. So good pockets of buying right here. And of course, a lot of that is correlated with the uptrend right here. So let me know your viewpoint on that. No new analyst ratings, no changes to the forecast for the upcoming earnings. So still estimated for it to be negative 10 cents, and that's based on 6 analysts. And then looking at the revenue, you have roughly 33.72 million based on 6 analysts. This is exactly what you want to see in a company though, is good future growth for revenue. So nice upward kind of chart there. That's definitely good to see. On a side note though, if you do want to take advantage and look at all this information for it to be completely free, take a look at 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧 in the description below and also the comments. Really recommend you to sign up because yeah, having all this information is definitely, it helps at times. So yeah, definitely take advantage of that. Aside from that though, on the actual chart itself, so with it pulling back, it is regrettably once again below that 50-day moving average. So that's currently sitting at 1463, and so we're at 1430 right now. So definitely watch for that, at least in the short term. Aside from that, the ALMA is sitting at $14.19. So that right now we are above that, so that's kind of a good thing. It's just wedge bound between those 2 points, so that 50-day moving average and ALMA. So I think as of right now, the market is just looking for a good next big catalyst for SoundHound operationally, and that might be coming from their earnings, and that should be anywhere from, they haven't announced it yet, anywhere from mid to end of February. And actually, on a side note, there's one thing I do want to clarify. I don't know what I was thinking, but in my video yesterday I was saying how potentially in the next month we are going to find out about SoundHound's inclusion in the S&P 500. So that would add a lot of liquidity, hopefully eliminate a lot of the volatility that kind of surrounds SoundHound. But in my video, I called it the NASDAQ 500, so my apologies on that. I don't know what I was thinking. So some people caught on to that, some people didn't, but I just wanted to kind of clarify. Stochastic RSI, on a side note, is starting to see a nice bullish deviation, but it is at neutral, so it's at 39, so not really oversold, not really overbought, so it's kind of just stuck in limbo. So let me know your viewpoint on SoundHound. Are you buying? Are you selling? Did you take advantage of the spike and do some options? What have you been doing with SoundHound behind the scenes? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon. I give buy signals on stocks, options, and crypto. Many of them have been absolutely bangers. So I launched it roughly around 2 months ago, and yeah, some of them have doubled, quadrupled, so worthwhile to pop over there and take a look. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.